Hey everybody, Mike Freeland coming at you on May 5th at about 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So what is that? 555. Coming to you guys, I haven't done a video in a while, and this video that I'm doing is it's a pretty interesting. It's a personal video about how I have learned to manifest things for myself based on feeling and emotional content and things like that. I know there's tons of videos out on YouTube where people are sharing about how to manifest, how to visualize, so many steps to know that you're on the right path to what your desires is and everything. But in this particular video, I wanted to be really, really honest and transparent and share with you guys some things that I did that ultimately helped me in some serious time financially and all, where I really didn't know where some things, the next, whatever was going to happen. And actually it happened right on time. But before I do that, I don't know how many of you guys have ever seen the movie Into the Dragon with Bruce Lee. One of the best movies, that, in my opinion, that he made in his short career. Well, in that particular movie, there's a scene where he's preparing to train a student, and he wants the student to kick. Well, the student does the first kick, and he was not satisfied with it. He asked the student, what was it? Was he doing an exhibition? He explained to him that he had to do it, but with emotional content. So the student steps back and kicks again. This time, Bruce Lee questions him about anger and not emotional content, but in fact that he was doing the kick with anger as opposed to the emotional content or feeling how to do the kick, I guess. So then he tells him to do it again. The student does exactly the way that he wants him to do it. And so he asks the student, how did it feel? And so the student sarcastically talks about, let me think. And Bruce Lee responds to him and says, don't think, feel. Don't think, feel. The emotion, feel. And so the student begins, he tells the student, it's like a finger, the feeling is like a finger pointing to the moon. So the student gazes at the particular finger and he hits the student and says, don't concentrate on the finger or you miss all that heavenly glory. Now, to me, that's a very, very powerful statement about feeling and emotional content and bringing things into manifestation, because I have learned that with manifesting and visualizing and things, the major part of that is feeling what it is that you want as if it has already happened. You want to live in the feeling of it's already being done. Now, there's a lot of religious and spiritual concepts and beliefs where, they always say, act as if things have always happened. Now, I say all of that to say this. I have had a couple of events that have happened in my life where I have been praying on it, and I have been doing it the proper way. We were taught, or I was taught, that there was a particular way that you pray. First thing you do is you acknowledge God as being the great creator. Then you give thanks for everything that you've received, everything that you've gone, all of the successes and everything that you've gone through, and and growing and all of those things. And then you are to pray and ask for forgiveness for anything that you believe or you feel was not pleasing in the sight of God. And then after that, you pray for friends, family, loved ones, and then finally for what your desires are, suggestions for yourself, and things like that. And that's been the step for prayer for all my life. But what about when there's something that happens that's really, really crushing and you feel the need to pray specifically about that? Well, does God hear that? Does he listen? If it's not in the format that you've been taught, Is it not answered? All of those things used to come in my mind. Well, actually twice, there was a couple of times that I had gone through some financial difficulties to a point where things were coming up that I was not in a position to satisfy. And I went before God and literally threw out the way that I was taught to pray. And I went and I conversated as if I was talking directly to someone else. It was me talking to God the same way I would have been talking to someone else. And I just poured out what I felt, poured out, everything that I needed, poured out the situation that was at hand with a lot of feeling, with a lot of emotion, all pretty much but tears, but in some cases tears. And things happened almost overnight, so it seemed. But here is one thing that I really, really believe was a key to it, was that when I acknowledged several, what I would call divine spirits or deities. Okay, I acknowledge God, number one. I acknowledge God as the God of the universe. I acknowledge God as the divine creator of this world, or this universe that we live in. I also called on Jesus, but I called on and I said, the true Jesus, because, for my own, again, this is my own belief. For my own belief, there's a true Son of God, and then there's the Son of God that is given to us, for power, that people have given as a form of power and control that they can do with other people, okay? I also pray to, I acknowledge spirit guides. I acknowledge angels. I acknowledged ancestors. I acknowledged all of these beings that, could have possibly been given assignment over me to protect me, to help guide me through, my path in life, to help me when I ask. Okay? And some of the instances that financially that I was going through, literally when I did that, and I did not follow a format, but I really poured out from my heart, those things were answered, literally seemed like days, and in some cases hours from when I prayed. Now, another thing about it as well, I might have been praying for a particular sum of money or amount to take care of some things, and when that did not come at that particular moment, my prayers and my beliefs and my visualization and manifesting a result that would be positive for me didn't necessarily always come in money, but sometimes it came in where, companies or arrangements were made that, put things in perspective that I did not have to, take care of it as soon or as immediately as I thought I would. Now, we used to say, God may not come when you want him, but he's right on time. And I believe that with all of my heart, because I've seen things personally happen in finances, in ways of creating finances and all of those things. And I believe wholeheartedly that a large portion, or if not all of it, did not come because I followed a system of prayer that I was taught, but I came to God, I came to the Creator, I came to this divine consciousness. I acknowledged the true Jesus. I called on deities, including angels and spirit guides. I called on the ancestors. Ancestors are very, very powerful. These are people, or were once people here living and feeling and knowing exactly what we go through. And now they're in the spiritual realm, so they can aid you from the spiritual realm, because believe it or not, they've gone through and they know the feeling of what you go through here. So I acknowledged them, and I acknowledged and went straight to what the issue was, and things changed, seemed like that. And to me, I believe there is a time where you would just pray and meditate on the goodness that the Creator has blessed you with, where you are when you're in a good place. I also believe that you need to be grateful for both good and bad, because the good is great, the bad is learning. There's no such thing as failure, in my opinion. It's good, it's achievements, it's greatness, it's success, and then it's learning. Those things that you have not necessarily achieved the way you wanted have been learning processes. And for me, manifestation, visualization with true emotion, I mean speaking from your heart, speaking things into existence from your heart, is the best and the fastest way to manifest your desires. Now, you always want to, there's a saying, live in the end. Live as if it's already happened. And I know that's hard. Trust and believe. When you know you're faced with circumstances and you personally can't see the end, it's hard for you to try to visualize and live as if things have already in your favor. But if you can get over that, put away the fear, put away the doubt, and let God, let the universe, let the divine spirit, let those divine beings that are assigned and literally like contracted to you to help you, talk to your ancestors and explain to them the same way you would talk and explain to someone if they were sitting directly in front of you. Because believe me, you can't see them because they're in the spirit realm, but they are there. They hear and they react accordingly upon your request. But that's another thing. You have to. Nothing is going to happen if you don't initiate it. If you do not initiate the contact, initiate the help. We have beings that are assigned to us that are waiting to help us. But because of free will and things like that, they will not get involved unless you ask. But then you also have to realize that there is a thing called divine timing. Just because, and I had to learn this, and I'm still learning this, not like I'm 100%, rock hard, know everything, but when you pray and you meditate and you visualize and you talk to the divine beings that are assigned to you and you talk to God, there is a divine time for everything to occur. Okay, and then it's up to you. You have to have the faith, you have to have the belief, you have to know within yourself that in the correct time, things are going to happen in your favor. Okay, and I know a lot of times when we visually see that a deadline is coming up, a notice is coming up, you're all out of extensions on different things, and we can see all of this, that is set up as a block, and you cannot see beyond that to what can spiritually happen for you. That's where we get, messed up. And trust and believe, I know it's hard. I mean, I'm just understanding and learning how to set that aside, how to set it aside a lot of times. But even in that, I'm still human. I'm still in a physical body. My spirit is still in a physical body, or I should say the real me is still in this physical shell, which means I respond to a lot of things based on physical results and not spiritual. But I'm learning to change that. And as a result, things are happening so much more pleasant or on time, on divine time for me when I learn to sit back and allow, to speak those things as if they are already happening, live in the end, acknowledge the divine God, visualize things the way we want them to be, and then release it into the atmosphere, release it into the universe, and allow God in its divine timing to work. Okay, so that's pretty much it, guys. Manifestation, visualization but your emotions play a huge part. Think about when you're going through something negative and how welled up you get with your emotions on something negative. Flip that and make it something positive. When you are talking to the Creator, when you're talking to the universal God, when you're talking to Jesus, when you're speaking to the ancestors, when you're talking to your angels, when you're talking to any divine positive spirit, and you speak to it with that same emotion, enthusiasm, and all of that, and then let it go. You got to let it go to the universe. And I know that that can be difficult too, because still in the physical realm, you're thinking about, well, if this happened and this happened, and what is this coming? And I don't have it for this. And if this happens, this is going to happen. I know that's all hard, but you have to push it and let divine timing happen. All right, so this is Mike Freeland, guys. I hope that helps somebody out here, whoever sees it. Visualization and manifestation with emotional content. Sincere emotions, okay, will help you manifest things a lot faster. This is Mike Freeland. You guys take care. Have a fantastic day.